Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Talk Spicy. I'm Coach Gene Clemens. Thank you for joining me wherever you are joining me. Rate the show, comment, agree, disagree, but whatever you do, keep it spicy. 5-star ratings are appreciated. And if you're joining me on the YouTube channel, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, ladies and gentlemen. Every day we've got more and more people watching, and yet sometimes I don't really see that subscriber thing moving. And it's like, yo, if you tune into this more than one day in a row, go ahead and smash that subscribe button. Even if you are looking at me on Twitter or on Facebook, if you're looking at this on Twitter and on Facebook, where you really could help me out at, if you're not already already following me on Twitter or on Facebook, make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's if you go to Coach Gene Clemens, type in Coach Gene Clemens on YouTube, it'll bring up the YouTube page. Really would appreciate it. Lots of great things that go on over there. Lots of great content, always more coming, especially as the football season really kicks up. Interviews, demos, whiteboard talks, Giant specific stuff. So if you're a New York Giants fan, definitely want to be there. I really would appreciate it. It's interesting to hear someone like me say that sometimes you just need to be quiet, right? After all, I talk for a living. Like not only when I'm in the classroom teaching, when I'm on the football field teaching, when I am talking to you on various podcasts that I do outside of Talk Spicy, I get paid to talk. But it's really interesting that sometimes all it takes is for us to be quiet, to really figure out what's what, to really figure out like what is for us and what's against us. For a lot of us to realize people's and entities' true intentions. The first day that I realized that people actually listened to this podcast, I didn't do an episode, and my homeboy hit me up and was like, "Yo, no talk spicy today, or no spicy talk," as we said, "No spicy talk today," and I was like, "Oh yeah, just busy." But then it made me realize, yo, people are listening. This is a part of people's day. And so I almost probably would not have realized it. Excuse me. I probably would not have realized it had I not taken a day to not talk. And so now, on those days when I don't have a talk spicy, I just sit back and I observe what goes on, because I feel like in those moments there may be opportunities to learn. My football team, we won our game actually this Monday, because we had to play on Monday because the powers that be decided that they wanted to postpone a Friday night game where we didn't have anything going on the next day, and it was a long weekend. And then to Tuesday, and then found out that Tuesday wasn't going to work because we had to have all these games made up by Monday. So then we had to play on Monday. Regardless, we won our game on Monday, and it was our first win of the season. We're 1-1. But in my mind, and I know in a lot of the other coaches' minds, it just wasn't as impressive as it should have been, right? We didn't dominate the way that we could have dominated. And I think for me, I had to almost stop and say, well, what's the reason that I feel like we didn't have the success we could have had, even though on the scoreboard it looked more dominant than what it really was, in my opinion. And I said, well, our guys are emotional guys. Our guys are emotional guys. And we want them to walk that line of emotional, because when you're playing with passion, it really does help, right? When you're playing with passion, it helps. But if you don't know how to check or regulate that passion, then it can become an issue that gets your team into trouble. And I felt like that was happening to us. So this week in practice, I've said, hey, cut out all that talking. Because normally I like a chippy, a lively, back and forth practice. People making plays, people talking about it, people going at each other, people talking about it. But I said, nope. We have to learn how to generate that necessary fire from within. It shouldn't take someone else goading us for us to raise our expectations to the next level. We should just have it there. So it's been no talking. And the interesting part about, hey, I don't want to hear a word, is that they now associate quiet with unaggressive. It's amazing how it quickly takes hold. And so this week has been built on trying to get them to embrace that aggression that they have when they're talking and they're clapping and they're woofing at each other, like to embrace that aggression, but without having to say a word. Because when you stop talking in athletics, it reveals your opponent's intentions. See, right? If I'm destroying you on the football field, if I'm giving you hella buckets on the basketball court, and I'm not talking to you, that's an awful feeling. I tell people all the time, you'll know when I want to fight. I don't fight anymore. I hope I never get into another fight. But in the times when I used to fight, you would know when I was ready to fight. Like you would know when the switch turned from we're just talking, we're just jaw jacking, we're just back and forth to I want to fight you. Because I stopped talking. It was something that I like. I actually just went back and realized what I was doing, kind of, some self-reflection. It was when I stopped talking that I knew, or that you would know, it's time to fight. In coaching, it's interesting. I don't really do a whole lot of like trash talking. Like when it comes to trash talking to other teams, trash talking to other coaches, like I don't really do a lot of that. When people ask me questions directly, I answer questions directly, but I'm not really the trash talker. You know why? Because in my mind, the football game's the fight. It's an inevitable fight. So now there's nothing else to talk about. We're going to fight. There's going to be a physical exchange. And in that physical exchange, we see how people react. We see how people move. Shout out to my sister, Rashawn, I love you. The power of silence is real, because in that level of physicality, you really don't have a whole lot of time for talking. Like when you're throwing blows, and you better be saving that energy for the fight. So a lot of times in in sports, you do so much talking, especially at the beginning of the game, that there's almost like an adrenaline dump. Like all of a sudden you're tired. Like, yo, why am I tired 4 minutes into a football game? Because you've been your pregame, all of these chants and all of these, give me a woo, what they gonna tell me? Ooh, what is it? Hey, down. Like, you're doing all of this different stuff, all of these different cheers. And then you have to go and hit somebody, and you got to go run down, and you got to go execute, and you need to be mentally focused. That's draining. It is an adrenaline dump. And within that adrenaline dump, now you got to get it back. But imagine if you think about boxing, right? Most boxers between the rounds, they don't say a word. They're quiet. Most boxers in the ring, they're quiet. Why? Because they've got to save that energy for the main thing, or else they're going to get knocked out. MMA, the same thing. Not a lot of talking. You do have some players who talk. You do have some. And even those guys, I go, man, how much more effective would you be if you just, right? If you just shut up and let the physicality do the talking for you, how much better would you be? Now, there are some people who are affected by that. There are some people who are affected. There is definitely a psychological warfare to talking, but not at the expense of your performance. And so whether we're talking about sports or we're talking about life, sometimes when they say, hey man, you know what? Now's the time to just put your head down and work. What they're really telling you to do is shut up. They're really telling you to be quiet and be mindful. Just work and see what happens when the only thing that people hear from you is what they see. That's an amazing thing. That's a phenomenal thing. There's an opportunity for you to be special today, and for you to do so just by being quiet and existing in your world to the best of your ability without anybody having to know about it. I know it's crazy coming from somebody that talks for a living, but there's power in it. There's power in the silence. And I recommend to all of you to try it. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Talk Spicy. I'm Coach Gene Clemens. Do this thing a few times a week. Rate the show, comment, agree, disagree, but whatever you do, keep it spicy. 5-star ratings are appreciated. If you're joining me on the YouTube channel, make sure that you like, make sure that you subscribe. Until next time, peace.